of you want to do things right? To keep up with keeping your lives tight. Tight as in being right with the truth of true insight. Who of you want to do things right? Who of you want to truly succeed in attaining all in that which is your need? To be heard by the real answerer of all deeds, the true hero of all whom pleads. Who of you really want to bow down to the true King of Kings commanding the crown? To worship the one that ever rules alone, commanding everything of creation from the seat of its throne.
Good evening and welcome to an A.H.A.D moment, the calm before the storm. I'm your host, Minister A.H.A.D. With me today, we have a round panel discussion of all the time. Brother Faculty Abdul Aziz, co-host. The Messenger of Prophet, Lord Holy Apostle Dean Saline, and Holy Queen Mother Ragged Saline. May Jesus' peace and other blessing given by everyone's presence. May Jesus' peace and other blessing by your presence, those in our TV audience and those in our studio audience that are here watching this program. Glorified is our Lord, El, in his name of A.H.A.D this day for the send down, being in the company of these beautiful people here. One thing we want to discuss this evening, that A.H.A.D had this message been out here over going on 31 years. I've been like, going on 31 years. But as a messenger prophet over the last 16 years, giving forth the message of A.H.A.D. And as time goes on, and that we live in this day of revelation, Allah has promised that who is there to receive the message, to take in this message, you know, in his calling from the Lord Most High. And it's like Jesus calling to the world of humanity today about the hour of the day that is at hand. So with that, we're going to discuss, you know, those who are here can chime in with questions. And as we put together these people, may Allah bless us to get forth this word out today. Brother, Holy Apostle, Holy Queen.
Brother, if I may, when you ask the question, who's going to take the message, you know, it comes to, you know, my mind upon who, the type of individual it would be. First of all, is it the person that's fearful? Is it the person that's mindful? Is it the person that listens, actually sits down and take in the show or take in some of the written text that you might encounter from the Holy Apostle? And are they going to pay attention and take it seriously that you are speaking the words, you are speaking a voice sent from the Lord A.H.A.D, whom people is known by many names and by many terms. Names is Yahweh and terms is Jehovah, and you know, that same universal supreme being that the Muslims in the world recognize as Allah. You know, that same supreme universal being that is ultimately even beyond the names that He is for us, you know, as we are taught, you know, as a mercy that we have a relationship with Him. For me, it's a very real message, and it's come in different forms. There's been times when I've personally been made to be disconcerted about it, to be unsure of myself, and right then been given the mercy of being comforted by it, you know, that at least an opportunity to be saved, you know. The questions as to whether this is the end, this life that we live is the very end of things, or is in fact the judgment beyond this realm. They're waiting for us, you know. Multitudes of people in their different religions and in their different mindsets have to have those questions. Yeah. So that's probably what we don't. There should be questions, you know. Mm-hmm. You know.
Taking the message. Good one. And most, in the human being, we only take that which is necessary, what we feel is necessary, what our mind call us to think is necessary. What I've discovered is that how necessary do an individual think that A.H.A.D is? You know, we go about our lives and everything, and people call on A.H.A.D, like you said, many names, and they relate to A.H.A.D in many different ways. Right. Because just because I say A.H.A.D, the one supreme Lord, don't mean that the next person is related to A.H.A.D in that same fashion, because they may not be. But one thing I realized after doing a long study of people and a study of myself is that there is people that recognize that there's a force beyond them. They have that awareness, but exactly how that force is going to affect them is another thing. You understand? And sometimes what happens is that I use it as a trap. I easily give people comfort. It's just like you go to the store and you steal. If you get away from stealing the first time, the possibility of you going back again to steal again is very high. It's great if anybody ever stole anything before. That's how people live their lives. If I easily allow them to continually getting over, the more they ignore I easily. And the thing is that the more they ignore I easily, the more they set up what I consider disbelief. But they have this conscious thing of, just in case by chance Aisa is real, let me sit here. I don't have to do anything. I can keep doing whatever I want to do, but let me sit here, just in case. Because if I sit here, I may be protected. Kind of get where I'm coming from?
You know, this week, Holy Queen Mother and myself had a conversation, and I want to put this at the end of what I'm about to say. And so bring it back to me. It's about fear and disbelief. You know, balancing oneself off between fear and disbelief. Okay, so we're going to get into that. Don't let us forget, audience, please. As you were speaking, you know, my mind was just running through things that I've gone through throughout my life with people in general, mainly religious people. The worst people to try to talk to is religious people. You know, can I get an amen on that? You know what I'm saying? Because most religious people, at least amongst the Afro-American people, are brainwashed. They self-hypnotize into believing that whatever their ministers say or whatever they read, that's it, you know. And you got, my experience with Muslims has been terrible for the most part for most of the years, because they shut down before they open up. And then they want to shut you down before you can even express any wisdom to them. And as soon as they hear something that's different from what they've been receiving, then they really want to curse you, shut you down, damn you. You know what I mean? And that there is terrible for religious people like the Muslims who do so much studying in terms of books. You know? It would seem like it would be the opposite for them, that they are the ones who would open up to at least hear what you got to say.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm of this kind of being. You know, I'm gonna at least hear you out before I try to make any kind of judgment about what you're saying.
Yeah.
I might not like what you're saying. I may not agree with what you're saying, but I gotta hear you out. Because there's been times when I haven't agreed with what a person was saying, and at the end, when they summed up what they were saying, I had to agree.
Right.
Now, if I shut them down before they can complete what they're saying, then there's something that I'm not getting. And I start maybe even misjudging them, sinning, putting forth bad judgments on that I shouldn't put on them. So it's a heavy, heavy situation when you got people that read the divine books, the holy books, the scripture, and they say they like waiting for divine individuals to come, but they create in their mind what this person's supposed to look like, sound like, seem like, be like, and who he's supposed to be hanging out with before they accept him. If you are of the unholy, how can you judge the holy? If you are not yet of the righteous, why would you claim to be righteous? And take those positions where you will not even hear a fool out. If I'm a fool, give me the opportunity to show my foolishness. You know, and I used to say some things about Elijah Muhammad. And they weren't negative. But I used to say, you know, he's not really saying much. You know? But he was saying more than I knew.
Right.
I had to grow up to understand exactly what he was talking about, because much of what he was saying, he was alluding to something further. So I had to grow up and I had to mature to understand, oh, he was talking about this and that and this and that. But he used metaphors and he used words that just with painted pictures.
Right.
You know, because we as a people were so elementary in our minds that we couldn't handle, you know, any high-level conversations. Yeah. You understand? That's why we were so easy to fall and start worshiping Malcolm X.
Right. Right.
Malcolm had the intellectuality.
Right.
But Elijah had the message.
Right.
He had the divine message. You understand what I'm saying? So, I used to say, you know, he is wise because he can reach the lowest to the highest people. If you can't reach, it don't matter what you intellectualizing.
Right.
If you can't reach, you're doing nothing. That's why I talk about brothers giving dower. Yeah, we're going to get some dower. You going to get dower. So you like to hear yourself speak.
Right.
And you going to bust some atoms in somebody's brain about Allah's information. Because all it is information to you.
Right.
You got too many people who can't hear the message because they dealing with the information. You got to get beyond the information to the supreme being. The information is just like shoes or apparatus you use to get from point A to point B. That's what the information is. The information guides you to something. But they think that the information is it. They think that it's just it. That's it. How foolish are they?
One thing A.H.A.D does, and part of the problem of the human family, and hearing this message, back to what you always talk. First of all, the simplicity, like you said, Elijah. He didn't say much, but it reached to the core of your being. People today have become so intellectualized, so educated, that they have become dumb. And I used to say that for years to us. You can study so much that you can become dumb.
Mm-hmm.
In the world today, all they push is this education. And then they philosophize, rationalize down the line of religions that when the message came, like a Jesus or Muhammad yourself, come, clear, in the language that they understand and speak. They said, hold up. They want more. In other words, I want all of this
First
stuff.
of all, the jinn
Right.
is the advocate of the devil. Most of them.
Right.
For real. People
Yeah.
don't see that as
Don't
being
see
for
that.
real. And then they follow the jinn.
Right.
They praise and worship the jinn. They run to the White House instead of the Lord's house.
Yeah.
And they think that they are right.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the devil's house. I don't give a darn how great this country is. You're never greater than the Lord itself. You're never greater than Allah. A.H.A.D, Amen. You never. You know? This is just like some little teeny world to the Lord.
Mm-hmm.
And we around here thinking we're so great.
Yeah.
You know? But, you know, something, you know, I mean, like I talked to Holy Queen Mother, I talked to Brother A.H.A.D, I talked to a lot of people. Mm-hmm. And, you know, my thing is I never act as though or believe that I am greater than them.
Oh, no.
So much so, because in fact, I'm less. Because I'm less of what I thought was myself. The Lord is greater in me, but I'm less than me. Right. You understand? So I can't sit back and say and act as though I'm something unless I want to take credit from the Lord Most High about myself. Right. But that's a mistake that people make.
Yeah.
They take credit for their life. When the Lord is the one that's responsible for every single atom and every essence of your being. your spiritual essence, mental essence, physical essence, all everything for your movement and everything. Huh? And it produces thought in you. It produces memory in you. It consistently creates in you every day. It's creating in you right now. As you go along thinking that, your thoughts ain't physically manifested. They're being created. So the Lord is constantly creating, never stopping. And think about how many beings of mind it is in creation that is constantly creating in. All the time.
All the time, yeah.
But who gonna take that message? When the Muslims want to tell you, well, Allah is on the throne, don't tell me that. Allah is seated on the throne, that's that. Well, yeah, Allah is seated on the throne, but do you understand what Allah is?
Right.
Huh? See, if you want to understand what Allah is, first of all, you got to break down the names. We know El is in Allah.
Right.
How many of them realize that El is in Allah? That Allah is a conjunction word.
Right.
Two words put together. Allah. The Ah.
Yeah.
You understand? Who's going to take the message? Now, she brought up something it just lit me up the other day, and she said, you know, because I was talking, and what she do, she reflects back to me, and I reflect back to her, and it's all good. That's why you need somebody to talk back and forth to, you know. And it's good to get somebody compatible, you know, that you can relate to, you know, because, like, let me just say this here, because this thing keep running through my mind, you know, before I get into this other thing. You know, they said a mind is a terrible thing to waste. Huh? And they say you should read. Now, we always got that message from Budweiser. People that's selling us intoxication. Huh? And then the ones who was bringing was the guys, the jazz man, you know, the guys whose life is about social drinking. About tearing down your mind. How ironic that is. Contradictory and hypocritical. But the money that they give to the black colleges, but that money don't compare to the injury they give to the black family, the human family in total.
That is true.
You understand? Who gonna get the message?
That is so true.
And they got our people running around here thinking that it's right to read. But they don't tell them what is right to read.
Right.
And you got people thinking that they smart and they run around putting all this trash in their mind, reading the wrong things.
That is so true. That is so true.
You can't judge a book by its cover, as they say, but I look at many books and I look at them covers, I say, I'm not reading that. I'm not even entertaining it. You got people get into those stories, the mind, fictitious stories.
Yeah.
The mind of a disbeliever. They're filling themselves up with the minds of people who will not fare well at the throne of Allah. But do they get that message? Do they see themselves filling their minds up with the mind of somebody who stands against the Creator in the way of the righteous? That will create all these illusions to take you through your emotional being and mess up your mental being. It's the same thing with actors. You got good actors who are entertaining and what have you, and you might love them and everything. But listen, they are in service to the jinn. I've only known one, really, Cicely Tyson, who said, in my lifetime, said, I'm not going to do that kind of stuff. I'm not degrading myself, you know, my people, blah, blah, blah. You understand what I'm saying? But the rest of them, you love them, and then all of a sudden they come up with some demonic movie for the money and for the position. Because they don't have power, they don't want to lose their position.
Right.
Like take Denzel for instance. The best actor in Hollywood for a long time couldn't get a trophy until he did Training Day. Why? Because Training Day was a negative thing for black people. To take us out. Further take, they want to keep telling us, fight the authority, fight the authority, fight the authority, be tough. The authority ain't right. Now you got all these bad cops out here. Cops that's old gangsters, OGs, leading gangs, corrupt. You know where that come from? Somebody instituted that in their mind, and they took it. Back in the 60s and the 70s, you had Jim Brown, Fred Williamson, all them fighting the cops. Now you know you get a community of people that's fighting the cops, you gonna get a community of people killed.
Oh yeah.
Why they couldn't say no, I ain't doing it? Why they haven't got all their money together and started movie theaters to educate our people in the way that we trying to? You understand what I'm saying? If money talks in this world,
And these are the same people that want to
lead us now
Right.
and disassociate themselves from what they did.
Right. And that's the problem. When you disassociate yourself from what you did, then you can't help nobody.
Can't help no one, right?
You know, A.H.A.D said something very heavy that I caught on television yesterday. Very heavy. Very heavy. They was asking them about women, black women's hair. You know, they did a movie. They did,
Chris Rock, yeah, he did a movie.
yeah, degrading black women's hair and stuff. You know, women are, black people, African Americans are so silly. The Lord gave us the hair we have. Now we can't appreciate it. We want somebody else's hair. They run around here wearing Indians' hair. From the far east. They don't know what them Indians are all about, what they taking into their bodies. And that's just like horsehair as far as I'm concerned, taking it from another creature. Bad enough we got to cover ourselves here, you going to put stuff on your brain, you know? And then they talk about the sisters in Islam covering, and they covering themselves with wigs. You know what I'm saying? But the thing about it was, they asked A.H.A.D about him touching his wife's hair. Do she let you touch her hair? He said, the question is, do I let her touch my hair? Now you think about this. You think about this. This is a black leader that the Caucasians have allowed to come up. They opened the passageway for this man. Don't think that he did it.
Oh no.
Even all that, them going against him and stuff and never really catching him, that's part of the game to make us think, oh, he's a real freedom fighter.
Right.
He's suggesting that he's more womanly than his wife.
Yeah.
Huh? What is do? You know, what is that to take the black man? Ain't it enough that we wearing earrings like the broads now? Excuse me, ladies, not broads, but you know, like women. Ain't enough. You can say, well, the Africans wore it and natives wore it and the people in South America wear things. Yeah, but in our culture, that was gayism.
Yeah, it was.
Huh? So we done just broke it and everything goes.
Yeah.
You feel what I'm saying? When excuse me, brother, but when you get down to piercing, that's barbaric anyway.
Lord, peace against that. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But she made it such a point that she hit me with. She said, you know, one of the problems that people have, especially our people, she said, you know, you have a lot of people around you and they say they believe and they've been hanging on. She said, they disbelieve. What it is that, you know, like, you know, I'll be upset because I said, when are you going to grow? When are you going to take a step up? When are you going to do this, that, and the other, blah, 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 blah. She said, their fear is equal to their disbelief. They disbelieve, but they're afraid to leave because of the signs of Allah, so they just dangle on in fear, but all they disbelief is what got them standing still. And she said that's why you could talk to some people sometimes, and you could tell them some things, and you could tell them again, and you could tell them again, and come back and talk to them, and they act as though they never heard what you said. And that's when I came up with who's going to take the message. who's going to accept the message? Because if you can't deal with your own disbelief, then what are you doing in so-called religion? What are you doing?
Or to even say that, it's just, it opens up to the people for self-examination, one way or the other, which way you're gonna go.
Well, you know the whole thing about religion is self-examination. It's self-examination, it's self-expulsion. Huh?
And see, one of the things that people have to realize, and I've learned this for myself, the whole world can get on me. But if I can't get on myself, I ain't doing nothing. See, you could get on me all you want, but if I don't learn how to beat my own self, your beating gonna wear off. After a while, I ain't gonna even feel it. If you don't believe me, keep beating the damn child. And after a while, they may cry just to keep you from beating them, but they ain't crying from the pain of that belt no more.
And they don't care about the lesson.
And they don't care. You just think about your children. You'll beat them and punish them, and they still go out and do the same thing. Isn't that telling you something? They're not going to stop until they realize they need to stop. You understand what I'm
like
saying?
If you stop feeding them.
You punish them all you want.
If you stop feeding them, to me, that's been the most effective thing that my mother could do to me. Is stop feeding me. And I said, okay, I want to eat. She ain't had to raise no belt. My pops ain't had to raise no belts. My father hardly took a belt to me. But look at the respect I have for him. They got me mentally.
But do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Especially adults. Ain't nothing we can do to punish each other. Oh, we may hurt each other's feelings, make each other mad.
Make more enemies.
But if you don't know how to beat yourself, if you see a woman out there that's not your wife, and you decide to go to bed with her, and you say that you believe in the Lord, and you want people to look at you as one who fears the Lord, believe in the Lord, respect the Lord, because that's what it's all about.
Yeah, trust.
And you go ahead and follow that act. How much do you believe? How much do you respect?
You don't.
You understand? When do you ever jump in front of yourself and punch yourself in the face and say, I'm not doing this?
Yeah.
You just sit back waiting to see if somebody see you? That's some sick stuff.
We got the 1 minute.
We're going to hold that thought to our New York audience. We're going to hold that thought for our New York audience. Thank you for tuning in this program,
You talking too low, brother.
Who's going to take the message, For my ease, Allah, think about that as you come to part 2 of this program. May the Lord continue to bless you. Have a good evening.
Who of you want to do things right? To keep up with keeping your lives tight. Tight as in being right with the truth of true insight. Who of you want to do things right? Who of you